wise for dietitians, if they find that the clients have mental health issues, low self-esteem, for example, depression, anxiety, then they can refer them to see counselors as well. So that's the overlapping part lah. But just focusing on the field that you are expertise in, the area that you're expertise in lah.
Okay,
Mm.
how does that different with
Mm.
psychologists then? Counselor and psychologist.
Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Not Only Diet Talk podcast by myfindiet. So in myfindiet, we aim to bring sustainable, healthy dietary behavior for everyone. And once again, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode. This is our 17th episode so far of our Not Only Diet Talk. And I believe all of you already see the title, and you read the title, you know what are we going to talk about today. Right. So we are going to touch something about community dietitian, and then we have a very interesting guest that we known for quite a very long time already, and currently she's pursuing master, not really in dietetic fields after I think a couple of years of working in the real life job setting. All right. So maybe before that, before we introduce our guest today, Ameerul, do you? I believe you have your friend working as a community dietitian, right? So far, right? Based on the feedback or based on the feedback that you get from them, how is how would they describe their work, their life?
I think personally, sorry, when we talk about community dietitian, I sometimes kind of like confused with
Mm.
anyone who's working in retail or anyone who can actually work in corporate setting, because technically it is still community. So I can't really differentiate honestly.
Mm.
But if let's say community is including these two particulars that I mentioned just now, I think people who work in corporate kind of like enjoy the work that they are doing. That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And people who works in the retail setting, they talk a lot about working hours that sometimes in the weekend, for example, and then and both this particular position, they always talk about sales KPI. Yeah, so this is like how I usually know about like community dietitian.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. So, but that is just like maybe part of the
Yep.
point of view from your friends.
Yep.
And today we have our guest to actually share more about her experience as a retail dietitian, and as well as how did she decided to pursue master.
Yeah.
Yeah, after she started her work life.
Okay, before you introduce her,
Yeah. Okay.
let me just also give a little bit context and picture as well how we get to know this person. Actually, I personally work a lot with her
Yeah.
because of a university organization and everything. And this person actually has a special place in my heart, honestly, because she was the one who pushed me before to apply for position back in organization in university.
Mm.
And I think this organization, I believe everybody knows as well, Isaac, already helped me to grow a lot in terms of my social skills, in terms of like management skills and leadership. And yeah, so here we are today after a couple of months of not meeting, because we met her during her wedding.
Yeah.
Already how many months? Huh? How many months already?
That was in December. That was back in December.
Oh, that's
So
already eight
yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
Mm.
So she's our senior, and then we basically know her very well. So please welcome Rou Jie to our not only diet talk today. Yeah.
Welcome,
Mm.
Roger.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
before we
Mm-mm.
move on further, maybe you can introduce yourself on what are you doing right
Mm-mm.
now?
Mm-mm. Uh, okay, sure. Yeah. So just briefly about me. So yeah, I graduated from Bachelor of Dietetics back in 2019 from UPN. Then after I graduated, I worked for about 2 years, I guess, in total, as a community dietitian and mainly in sales area as well. And after that, then I am currently pursuing and almost completing my masters in guidance and counseling from UPM as well. Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
Sorry, the master in what?
Guidance and counseling.
Guidance and counseling.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh-uh.
My first time
Yeah,
hearing that.
if it's the full title is Master in Education, Master of Education in Guidance and Counseling. Mm. Yeah.
All right. That's
Uh-uh.
interesting. I would like to know
Mm-mm.
more about what you are studying. But before
Mm-mm.
that, let's
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
maybe can you share with us
Mm-mm.
a little bit about
Mm-mm.
how is the work setting, how is the job setting,
Mm-mm.
being in a
Mm-mm.
clinical, as in
Mm-mm.
a community dietitian
Mm-mm.
in sales
Mm-mm.
field. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah, sure. Honestly, it has been quite some time since I
Mm-hmm.
last worked. So this
Yeah,
one
yeah,
really need me to like dig back my memory lah a bit
yeah.
lah. So that was like about 4 to 5 years ago, cause 2019, 2020 like that. And then I think it's pretty much like what Ameerul said, honestly. Because dietitian is still quite a new field in Malaysia. So the classification and all is not like very clearly defined yet. So the experience I'm sharing also, it's like 4 to 5 years back lah. So maybe now already got changes or any different. So the one I'm not so
Mm,
sure. But back then it was like I was working in it's still quite as community dietitian, but it was more like retail, more like sales. I was working in a pharmacy. So yes, we do have KPI that in terms of having to design program, nutrition or diet related programs and stuff. But I would say majority of our KPI is actually contributed by sales, and in particular sales of nutrition products as well. For example, milk powder or supplements. Then we also sometimes have to organize events or programs like in the pharmacy itself lah, to raise awareness. But ultimately, the end goal of the program is also to boost sales as well lah. Yeah, so
mm,
that was my experience working as a community dietitian in a pharmacy back then. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Do you basically like what you
Yeah.
were doing before, and how was the working environment in general?
Mm, okay. So if to answer if like or dislike, it's I mean I think it's not that easy because there are certain aspects which I like, and of course there are certain aspects that I dislike as well. I think like especially back then, like I think the awareness also is very low among the community about like dietitian, because that time it's still quite new to have dietitian in pharmacy. So a lot of times people when they come into the pharmacy, they will just look for pharmacists, and then they just assume like everyone there working there is like pharmacists like that. So we do need to pick up like uh, but pick up knowledge about medicine, a lot of medicine like
mm.
or other products that are being sold there as well.
Yeah.
So the one actually I do quite enjoy, because like I know like working alone, like you cannot just focus on one thing only. So I do enjoy the knowledge, the knowledge, a lot of different knowledge that I pick up along the way as well. But what I don't really like, I would say, it's because it's still new, and then a lot of people don't have that awareness. So there's a lot of self-promoting. Like we have to advocate for ourselves a lot. We have to promote ourselves a lot. We have to explain to people like, I'm a dietitian, I can help you in terms of what aspect. A lot of like keep on promoting ourselves like that. And then sometimes it do that get quite a bit like tiring, especially if we do not get the response that we like. I mean, the response that we like, or we are not being appreciated as much.
Mm.
They don't see the importance. So that one is a bit frustrating, I would say. So that is the experience which I don't really like. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Before you go,
Mm-mm.
like when you
Mm-mm.
said the feeling of like not appreciated during that time by
Mhm,
probably the
mhm,
client, do you have any
mhm,
specific example of situation
mhm,
that you encountered
mhm,
before that you may share
mhm,
with us?
mhm, mhm. Yes, because like when people come to pharmacy, like a lot of them are also taking long-term medication. For example, the one that's most related to dietitian is diabetes lah.
Mm.
They come and pick up like diabetic medication, or sometimes high blood pressure, or even certain heart disease medication. So we will try to promote our service, because we do offer free diet consultation. We will provide diet consultation, and then like we'll monitor their blood sugar levels, and then we will like suggest like suitable dietary plans, or even like supplements to help them. So and we also have to do like case study to present back to HQ as well. So we will have to look for clients as well.
Mm.
But when people come and buy medication, usually like we will try. I mean, I will try to engage with them. I will ask them like, how are they doing? How's their blood sugar level? Is it well under control? Do they have like monitoring? So most of the time, I would say they wouldn't be very not I mean like not all, but a lot of them will be not very keen to disclose about their own personal information. They don't trust, or they just want to pick up and then go, and then they don't want to spend a lot of time lingering in the pharmacy. And also it's something that's sensitive, like about their health, or they are not, then they just also like at the same time, a lot of them are also like either they're not willing to tell or they are just, they're just looking for a quick fix. They are looking just for a, like, like I'm taking this medication, my blood sugar level is still high. Is there any other supplements, any other, it's like they're looking for a miracle pill
Mm, mm.
to like just, I just want to take these and then my diabetes will be gone. They don't want to like come back week after week or like every 2 weeks to have follow up. They don't want to put in more effort to monitor their diet or control their diet. They just want a quick fix like that. So yeah, that was my experience back then lah. Yeah. Mm,
Okay. So
mm,
I have actually two questions. The first question
mm,
maybe
mm,
I should have asked you earlier is
mm,
that why do you choose to first, get your first job as a
mm.
to work in
Oh,
clinic and
okay.
community setting?
Uh-uh.
I'm
Yes.
also quite curious
Uh-uh.
about this. Yeah.
Uh-uh. Okay, so as we know, as like fresh graduate in Malaysia,
Mm,
usually it's divided into community or clinical setting, right?
yeah.
So I did apply for both, I guess. I mean, I don't really have a particular interest. I'm just, applying and see what I can get and then I choose the best option.
Mm,
But honestly, I didn't like in the beginning. I didn't receive much response. I would say no response from the clinical setting because usually clinical setting there are lesser
yep.
openings,
Yeah.
lesser places.
Yep.
Then I already got this offer from a lot of like community setting kind of field. So in a way I sort of like convinced myself to be okay with it because I think to myself, I have worked about like before that we have internship right before we graduate. So we did like clinical internship for quite some time, almost a year.
Mm,
So I feel like, it's like maybe I can just challenge myself to try something different, and then to learn more things, pick up more knowledge before I maybe re-enter clinical field or something that's more core dietitian rather than having to do sales as well. Yeah. So that was the reason. Not that I particularly choose it, but it just so happened that was the best option at that
the
time.
best option
Mm.
during that time lah,
Yeah.
where you do not have
Mm-mm.
particular field
Yeah.
or specific role.
Interest. Yeah.
I see.
Uh,
Okay.
mm-mm.
Just now you do also mention back then when you were working as a retail, working in retail
Mm-hmm.
setting as a community
Mm-hmm.
dietitian, the customer or the client
Mm-mm.
who comes,
Mm-mm.
they usually just want a quick fix. They do not want
Yeah.
to disclose their personal
Yeah.
information that much.
Yeah.
Would you think that is because of people do not know dietitian during that time? Because I
Mm,
believe back 4 to 5 years
mm,
back, the
mm,
availability
mm,
of dietitian in retail
yeah,
setting, it is still very
yeah,
very rare.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. That is very true. I think even me myself before I apply for job, I also don't know pharmacy got dietitian
Uh,
as well. So yeah, so when I apply only like, I know, and then also I think it was quite new lah. Maybe at most also 2 to 3 years only they start having. So definitely awareness plays a role as well. Awareness.
yeah.
Um. Yeah, I think it's
Mm,
awareness lah. Yeah,
yeah.
in the Malaysia citizen. Yeah.
Because
Mm-mm.
currently I'm also I has been observed in terms of
Mhm,
how is the involvement of dietitian in a
mhm,
community setting, particularly in retail pharmacy all around Malaysia. And I
mhm,
can really see, in fact, there are actually more and more dietitian or even nutritionists. They
mhm,
already hold a position as
mhm,
a staff or yes,
mhm,
as a assistant
mhm,
in retail setting
mhm,
for
mhm,
nowadays
mhm,
right now. And
mhm,
based on some of the conversation between me and my friends or my junior, they were saying some of them they are giving a very positive feedback in a way where,
mhm, mhm,
especially when the welfare of the
mhm,
dietitian in retail setting is being well taken care of. Yeah, but I do believe
mhm,
probably the 4 to 5 years back there was like a beginning,
mhm, mhm.
baby step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So
Mhm,
how would you describe the working environment back then throughout your experience?
mhm. Mm, the working environment, I mean, basically I was based in the pharmacy outlet itself.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's just, working closely with the other team members. So we do have a good relationship with each other. We cooperate and then we help as much as we can.
mm,
Then definitely long hours shift, like Ameerul mentioned just now as well, that is very normal as well because in retail setting, you have to work like weekends, public holidays. So that does contribute to a bit of stress as well. Because you're working shift and then you're not
mm.
like you don't have regular meal hours or rest hours, and it's a bit awkward like that. But definitely I would say the pressure is very high as well, in terms of like sales, because ultimately that's the
Mm.
end measurement, especially because our manager, like our usually the management team is not consultation, it's usually consists of pharmacists,
Yeah.
or like other, other backgrounds, and sometimes they also like we are still trying to understand, how can we put value in the team, maybe improve new. So sometimes we do feel like we are not being understood
Mm.
by them.
Mm.
Like the challenges we face is not being understood by them. Then they will put a lot of pressure on us. Usually it's top down lah,
Yeah.
to achieve certain KPIs, sales and stuff. And sometimes like it will also like although we do work well together, but sometimes because of the commission, then there will be conflicts within the staff as well, because there's personal commission and there's team commission as well. So sometimes there is like certain conflicts, and then then our manager will have to try to step in to resolve. So it's, I would say, like basically fast paced, high pressure, kind of environment lah. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a
Mm-mm.
good insight, honestly. Because
Mm-mm.
I never really talk that much or in deep about this. You know, when I just understand
Mm-mm.
from them, it's all about just sales KPI, but it's actually
Yeah.
beyond that. You know. Um.
Mm.
Okay. So let's now make a transition into your what you are doing right now, right? Which is
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
study journey, right? But
Mhm.
before we go into like
Mhm.
what you are doing right now and everything,
Mhm. Mhm.
what sparks or like what makes there's a transition between being a community dietitian and being back into this student life, the post graduate life?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, when I first graduated, with my bachelor degree, I never even thought or even imagined that I would further study lah, because I'm not particularly interested in research and stuff. Like I would rather, work and then like serve the community. So so it was after working for about 1+ years, in the pharmacy, and then I started thinking about my future, if it's what I want to do for the foreseeable, the next part, my further part of the career. And then I do try to apply for other positions as well. I try to change my field, because like I feel a bit stagnant maybe, like in the pharmacy, because I feel like I've learned all that I need to learn, and I don't feel like I'm not fulfilling my what I want to do 100%. Yeah. So I started researching for other opportunities. I started applying for other clinical placement, because I feel like I do prefer counseling, diet counseling or consultation, number one, but I do not get that much feedback. Or basically there's very, very little openings lah. Yeah. And and after that, then that was during pandemic time as well, around 2020, 2021. And then that time there's a spike in, as you all know, like mental health issue, the rates of depression, the suicidal case was increasing. And then I do have friends who actually went to study this counseling, master in counseling degree as well. And then that's when it sparked my interest, because I think first is career opportunity. I feel like as a counselor, maybe because counseling has more years in Malaysia already, and then there was license that time. That time back then, like dietitian had license here, but
Right.
counseling, there's license, and then there may be more working opportunities. So I would say that that's the first reason that motivated me to put in this, to study, to change a bit my career, like to change my career. And the second part is my own personal interest in mental health as well. Because back then in university, I was also I would say like a mental illness survivor. I was also diagnosed with mental illness, and then I had my own experience with it as well. And then I try to advocate as well for mental health. So I would say my personal interest. So it just aligned, and then I back then I didn't know that, like even I didn't know that like even if I'm not from that background, I can further study in that field.
Mm.
I thought that you must be from either psychology or counseling background, only you can further study in that field. But after that, I realized that for master in counseling, you don't necessarily need to have the relevant background. Then I'm like, okay, then I make the decision to invest. I would say invest in these 2 years, to get this degree, to get this license, and then to make a transition in my career.
Yep, yep.
Mm,
I'm sorry to
All
cut
right.
you.
All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
mm,
but before I skip into the next question, but you can ask later on, because I feel like something that makes me interested to ask Roger is in terms of the counseling that you study now, and also the
mhm,
counseling that we studied before in
mhm,
our course,
mhm,
because we have
mhm.
particularly we study about nutrition counseling, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
particular
Mm-mm,
course. So how does it
Mm-mm.
similar or how does it different from what we studied and what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing right now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Yeah. It's I would say first thing is it looks very different. It looks very different, but actually if you go deep into it, I mean that there is of course similarities. So I mean they are both called counseling. But then from what I think like what we study back then, it's very, very basic and very, very surface only because after all it's only one subject out of 4 years of degree
Mm.
that we take nutrition counseling. And the only technique I remember from there is like motivational
Motivation interview.
interviewing. That's the only thing I remember. Yeah. But for counseling degree itself, it of course like for master it's 2 years of full on just counseling only. So we learn much more deeper, a lot of the processes, a lot of theories that we can use, how to handle different kind of clients, and like for mental health issues lah. Yeah, I would say the main difference. I mean, of course, okay, I would say the similarities first. So similarity is like they both also like we're trying to help people to be better. Like for both dietitian and counselors, like the ultimate goal is to lead the customers or client or patients to have better quality of life.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal, to improve their life, be it whatever. So, but for then also they have their certain processes, like it's not only one time meet then that's it, that
Or
end of story. Like you have to have continuous session, and then usually for counselor it's usually 5 to 6 sessions per client,
mm,
and then you will see the improvement, and then it's a collaborative process. It's not only we as a professional talk only, but then it has to be two-way. Like the client also have to work on themselves. They have to do some changes. So I would say that's the similarity. Like there's the process, there's the we want to help people to be better, and there's a collaborative like between patient and the professional.
okay.
So they are both, I would say, in healthcare field as well lah,
Mm,
like healthcare field. But the differences, of course, mainly for dietitian is mainly focusing on physical health, like in terms of diet, in terms of exercise, lifestyle, physical health. But for counseling, it's a lot focused on
mental.
mental health. And then the tools that we use is different lah. We have for counselor we learn theories, we have our own theories, and then we have our own homework for the clients to do,
Of course.
and our way to help them.
Yep.
But for dietitian we have our nutrition care processes, we have our the AD the process. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Mm.
So then how we help is different lah.
Of course.
Yeah. Then but ultimately I also think that I mean they do have overlap points as well. It's for example like if a patient with diabetes, like long-term diabetes, they can be, stressed, or they enter depression because like it's a chronic disease. So we can help on the, like for counselors can help on the mental health part. But if for counselors, if they realize that, the client needs to have changes in terms of dietary, then they can refer them to
Yeah.
see dietitian.
Sure.
Yeah, they can refer them. And I think likewise for dietitian, if they find that the clients have mental health issues, low self-esteem, for example, depression, anxiety, then they can refer them to see counselors as well. So that's the overlapping part lah. But just focusing on the field that you are expertise
Understood.
in, the area that you're expertise in lah.
Okay.
Mm.
How does that different with
Mm.
psychologists then? Counselor and
Ah,
psychologist.
okay. Yeah, that's a very, very common question actually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they are confused between these three things: psychiatry, psychology, and counselor.
Yep.
Mm.
Which I also understand better only once I enter this field lah. Yeah. So for Malaysia itself, you have to understand like our healthcare system. There's the prevention level, and then there's like the basic level, and then you get higher and higher like that lah. Yeah. So like usually the highest is like so-called the more serious cases lah.
Mm.
So counselors are usually more of the prevention, or if
Mm,
I would say it's something like nutritionist and dietitian.
understand.
Like for counselor, it's more like a nutritionist at the community level. So we mainly focus on prevention, and a lot of times you'll find them in school, like guidance counselors. Actually, counseling itself started from schools lah.
Mm.
From
Mm.
yeah,
School counselor.
from school as guidance counselors to prevent like drugs, smoking, yeah, things like that. So counseling is more like prevention. And then usually we don't treat serious issues. It's more of just a bit of stress, a bit of adjustment issue, like maybe from school to university,
Yeah.
maybe like some family issues, some mouth family issue. Then, but if you was, let's say, diagnosed with mental illness, like either like bipolar, depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, like these are the more common ones in Malaysia. So there's clinical psychologists. So clinical psychologists are the ones who provide like psychotherapy lah, like, and then also that then at the same time then there's also psychiatrists. So psychiatrists are medical doctors who are expert in medical doctors who specialize in psychology field. Then okay, I don't know, it's a bit confusing. So there's these three things. So in Malaysia, like you can either look for counselor in, like, if you're in school or university, then you can look for them, or if there's like private clinics outside. But if you want to go through hospitals, right? So hospitals, you have to see a psychiatrist first, and only the psychiatrist will refer you to either clinical psychologists or counselors.
Oh.
So the doctor is the one who decide your treatment. For example, doctors refer to see dietitian. So similarly, doctors are the one who refer to counselors and clinical psychologists. Okay. So the difference between counselor and clinical psychologist, okay, so like I say, one is more of a prevention and more of a non-mental illness. Then for clinical psychologist, it's mental illness. But at the same time, because the rates of mental illness is getting higher and higher, so there's also overlapping points as well between clinical and psychology and the counselor. There are counselors who are also expertise in like anxiety or depression, like those mental illness. So there's the overlapping points, and until now also there is some debate about what's the differences, and then like how do we differentiate them, or like the for example pay the salary and stuff. So there are still conflicts as well lah. But they are also governed by different bodies lah. Counselors and the clinical psychologists are governed by different bodies as well.
All right.
Yeah, I hope that's clear.
Yeah, that's clear.
That's clear,
Yeah,
and that's very interesting. And since we actually, discuss until this topic as well, I think probably I would like to know what is your next step, because you say you almost finish your study already, right? So maybe what is your next step?
To graduate.
Rou Jie is being Rou
Yeah.
Jie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. To graduate, like so for us as counselors, we have to, in order to get our license, we have to complete certain internship hours, just like dietitian back then as well lah, collect hours and stuff. So after I graduate, then I'll be able to get my transcript, and then I can apply for license. Then I will look for job lor. Look for job. Like again, I don't really have any particular interest, like in being in clinical setting or community setting. I don't really have a particular interest, so I will just apply for anything that's available lah, as long as I can help people. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
All right. So if let's say some of our audience they would like to contact a counselor, or is there any because I once heard you have your lembaga, you have your board of counselor, things like that, right? So maybe how can they approach or find the relevant information? Can you share with us?
Okay.
Or maybe to add on that before you go, maybe it's more important for people to know when to refer to counselor, like when they have what kind of issue, and what and how.
Okay, that's a very good question. I think when to see counselor, okay, there's a lot of stigma about like when it comes to like seeing counselor or psychologist, then it's only for people like crazy people or like those with serious issue. But honestly, like even if something as wanting to, like you have a dilemma in terms of your job, for example, you got two offers and you just want to like get some guidance, also you can find, there's no issue that's too small. There's no issue that's too small. As long as you have some question and then you feel like you need some guidance, some third party, who can provide you a safe space, a safe, non-judgmental space for you to just, to just rant or to just process your thoughts. Also you can find. So there's no reason too small to look for a counselor. But I would say that those that are really, really red flag is when you start to realize that it's affecting your daily life. So that is the bottom line for us lah. Like anxiety, depression, everyone also has that emotions, right? We have ups and downs.
Yeah.
From time to time, we feel anxious, we feel down, especially if there's like some triggering events. But when it affects your life, for example, it's affecting your sleep, it's affecting your eat and your work, or your social life. You're not able to eat, not able to, or to eat too much, or you're not able to sleep at all, or you start isolating yourself. You can't function normally, then that's the red flag for a person to start seeking for help lah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
and how
Mm.
do they find counselors?
Okay.
Yeah.
So how there is two platforms, so private and government. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
So of course private is the one that you have to pay a bit more lah.
Yep.
Then government is the one that subsidized or basically sometimes free as well. So for private, definitely you can just search for any. I think especially in Klang Valley area, there's a lot of clinics, organizations that offer like
Mm.
counseling service, and then there's like different rates as well depending on the expertise. So that's like very simple. But if you want to go through government setting, so first of all you have to go to clinic kesihatan KK. Then actually you can just say that you think that you have this issue or that issue or you're having these symptoms, and then usually in KK, like KK they will give like a screening test, the DAS tool,
Mm.
the
Mm.
DAS questionnaire,
21.
yeah. So they will usually give that, and then or some other tool, and then like if you have your score is high, then they will write you a referral letter to see a psychiatrist. Then that is from your nearest like hospital lah, like HKL, Hospital Sedang,
Mm.
like this hospital. But then that is only one platform. Then nowadays there's also government has started this Mentari platform. I don't know if you've heard of it before. Mentari.
No.
It's actually, yeah, it's right next to Hospital Selayang. So each state also has this one Mentari where they're trying to, because like if you see like for government setting you have to refer right from
Yeah.
clinic
Yeah.
to hospital, but they are trying to reduce the referral so that the community or the citizens can faster see a psychiatrist. So this Mentari actually, the one you don't have to have a referral, you can just directly go there,
Mm.
and then there is psychiatrists available to treat you as well. Psychiatrists
Mm.
and counselors and psychologists like as a team like that lah to treat you as well. So that one sort of like reduce the barrier. And then there's also the welfare department, the JKM, Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. They
Mm.
also do have counselors as well, LPPKN.
Mm.
A lot of these like other government or like half government kind of bodies as well. They do offer counseling service. It's just we have to do a bit of our own research lah to see which one is available or suitable for us lah. Mm,
Understand.
Mm.
Understand. That's
mm,
very interesting, actually. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Good to know as well. Good
Mm,
to know. We will
mm,
pinpoint
mm,
this in the tidbit as well.
Yeah. So,
mm,
but
mm.
what is the full name of Mentari? Is it just as it is?
Uh, I think it's a short form for stuff, but it's like, but I don't remember what's the full name of
I
it, but it's capital letters Mentari lah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mentari.
TARI. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Yeah, so
Uh,
if let's say some of our listener or audience you would like to find more, we will definitely attach the link in our caption. So
mm,
we do
mm,
also hope to, with what Roger have sharing, we can actually include some useful link
Yep.
for
mm.
the
I
audience
can
if
share
let's
to
say
you guys as well. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Mm,
All
mm,
right.
mm,
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much for us
mm,
to, it's like
mm,
a catch up
mm,
as well as to listen to
mm,
your experience sharing, based once you started your career. So maybe to sum up this episode,
mm,
maybe for
mm,
Roger, what is your what will be your, because that's how you mentioned about what would be the signal or red flag for someone to actually
mm,
seek for help, right? So when
mm,
they seek for
mm,
help, right, is there any reminder that, or something, some words for people who probably, I feel like I should seek for help, but at the same time I'm not sure, or like, do you have any words for them? Yeah.
Okay. Um, I think a
Mm.
lot of times when we are experiencing mental illness, you'll feel like we are alone, like we are going, like we are abnormal, we are something different, there's something wrong with us. Why am I so weak, for example,
Mm.
or why can't I be like them? Why can't I be like this person, that person, like why do I suffer so much? So the main thing is to remind ourselves that you're not alone. You're not alone. Even if you feel like there is no one listening, like, you don't have a good relationship with your family, you don't have friends, you don't have a good working environment,
Mm.
but there is always counselors or help or like mental health professionals who are ready to listen, and like I mentioned just now, safe space, non-judgmental. So you are never alone, and it's always like start with the first step lah, seeking like starting to like, and also like you're not alone. And second is seeking help is not a sign of weakness;
Yeah.
it's actually a sign of courage.
Mm.
It takes strength to reach out and seek help. Yeah.
Interesting,
Mm,
interesting.
mm,
Yeah, thank you very much for your
mm,
sharing, for what you have shared today, Roger. And
mm,
I think one of the things that really give me a lot of confidence when you said that, oh, after this sharing, I get to know as a licensed counselor, they will provide a non-judgmental space, safe space for you
mm,
or for
mm,
anyone who want to seek for advice, seek for opinion or figure
yeah.
out your own mind.
Guidance.
So I
Yeah.
would really,
Mm,
I would really encourage, if let's say anyone would like to engage with counselor service. And with that, I think that's pretty much for our episode today. And
mm,
once again, thank you, Roger, for your sharing. And for our audience, if let's say you feel this episode might be useful for someone, feel free to share this with them. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our episode. Let's talk again next episode.
Yep. Have
mm.
a good day,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you, Roche.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye.